I'm going to introduce Alistair now. Hopefully in one moment or two his camera will appear, and as soon as it does we can go over to him, and Alistair's going to talk to us about online learning at scale. So Alistair, thank you very much and welcome, and over to you.
Okay, thanks very much. It's a packed schedule today. It's nice to be part of this, though I'm based way on the other side of the North Sea and further on the coast of the Baltic. Online learning at scale, very much to do with MOOCs at the moment. So some words about MOOCs and ideas to hopefully get the discussions going at a very general level. About myself, born in Dundee in Scotland, then moved to Sweden. I'm based at NIACE University on the Baltic coast in Sweden. I've been over here for most of my life, actually, so I'm more Swedish than Scottish or British anymore. I also have a role with FQuEL, the European Foundation for Quality in E-Learning, based in Brussels. However, talking about MOOCs, they've been around for several years now. I started following the whole thing when they began in 2008, and it's been a saga ever since, especially when it really went viral in 2011. In a way, I think there's been an awful lot of a lot of misunderstanding about the concept. It's changed. They changed the rules. It started off as a collaborative pedagogical experiment and became more mainstream big business on the way. So a MOOC can mean many things. Remember, it's work in progress. I think the main thing to think about MOOCs is they're not a finished product. Everyone is experimenting. There are experiments going on every single week, and something new happening all the time. Don't judge it yet. Don't throw it out before it's even started. They're still working on it, and there's a lot of experimentation, and they're evolving all the time, and we can't really see what's going to happen. At the beginning, there was an awful lot of nonsense spoken in the media. There was stuff about it being a tsunami that was going to overrun higher education and, in general, all education. I don't see it as a tsunami. It's more of the frozen variety. I see MOOCs and many other things to do with technology and education as a glacier. You can sit on the top and think that the world is standing still, but in fact it's moving, and the landscape underneath us is changing radically. And when it melts, if you're not ready, you're not going to recognize the environment you're in. So that MOOCs plus a lot of other things are part of a larger picture. Things are radically changing and will be very different in the future. And I think we have to be ready for that. So again, don't dismiss the idea, but remember it's work in progress and we're sitting on a glacier. In MOOCs, we often talk about open, but openness can mean a lot of things to different people. It's 50 shades of openness. You can go from, there's a lot of the massive open courses today are, in fact, not as open as they seem. Some are purely copyright, and you can't use the material at all. Some use Creative Commons material, which can be shared and reused. Some use material that's in the public domain. It's a continuum. There are many types of MOOCs. There are many types of openness. It depends what you mean. We can see MOOCs on a sort of compass basis, if you want, from content-based courses, which are very much traditional behaviorist pedagogy, down to process-based courses, which are more to do with skills and with collaboration and users sharing materials. You can also see them as going from open to purely copyright. So and MOOCs can be placed on that scale in all places. Why we study MOOCs, again, there's a lot of talk about MOOCs competing with further education, with higher education, but I'm not sure that they really compete. It's about lifelong learning. It's about curiosity. It's about just wanting to learn and participate in something. Most of the people who study MOOCs are not interested in credits or grades or certificates. They simply want to learn, which means that when they've learned enough, they drop out, which causes problems because the people who provide the courses see them as dropouts and see that as a signifier of failure. And I don't really think it always is. People just haven't signed up to the concept of a course yet. So there are many reasons for studying a MOOC. Business models vary enormously. There are a lot of business models already in process. Some of the main operators like Coursera and edX have a sort of have franchising models, have special paths where you pay to get more attention from a teacher instead of the sort of more self-help and peer-guided courses that are offered for free. There are many, many business models. I haven't got time to go into them, but everyone's looking for ways of monetizing this. Many say that some of the big operators like Coursera are basically they're drilling for oil, because data is the new oil, they say. And basically they want control of our clicks, and using that we can build learning analytics to find out more about our learners. There's enormous potential out there when we find out how to distill the crude oil that we're drilling for. So there's lots of models. Other thoughts are there's a lot of discussion about the sustainability of MOOCs in terms of recycling. And I'm particularly interested in where we're using MOOCs or open courses with open licenses, which mean that other people and other countries and other cultures can use the material to reuse and adapt it and build it to suit their own purposes. Then we're really sort of sharing material and allowing others to build on what we've created. So planning for sharing and reuse when we're making MOOCs or open courses, and daring to reuse and adapt others' material with permission, of course. Not all open learning is a MOOC. Remember that there are other areas, there are other organizations and communities like these, just click on them and have a look yourself, which are producing open learning, often mostly free open learning and learning communities, and they're not MOOCs. There are other models for this, and there's a lot of activity there as well. If I round off with some success factors for MOOCs, if we're looking at sort of quality aspects, and I've done that on a project about MOOC quality, we see that the transparency of the MOOC, to see that they must be clear what it's about. There must be people must be able to see the background, the rationale behind it, clear information to the participants. There must be a sense of presence, that I'm part of something and that I can show myself. I'm part of a community, and building that community is important. That makes people stay on the MOOC when they feel part of something. Offering scaffolding to help people, because not all people can cope with this MOOC and this open environment. We need ways of providing feedback, both from a teacher, figure or mentor if possible, but providing peer feedback especially, and just increasing the amount of engagement. That also is the way of stopping the dropouts, if you feel engaged and part of something. Opportunities, there are lots. Commercial models, of course, I hinted on them, but we won't go in more. A taste of further education, I think, is useful here, because taster courses, letting people try out something before they take the plunge into, say, a real course. A model for collaborative learning, testing out new pedagogical models online, creating environments for testing new ideas, getting people together, encouraging collaborative learning. Hybrid models, I think, are one way forward, where you have a MOOC online, but various colleges around the country can actually run face-to-face backup or face-to-face reinforcement, say once a week or several times a week even, where they add their touch to it, but the actual course has been produced by many together and is available to everyone in the country. National open courses dealing with basic skills, instead of everybody producing their own version of exactly the same thing and reinventing the wheel, let's try and work together to have national basic skills courses that are open all the year round. Providing lifelong learning, that's part of what the MOOC revolution is about. Another concept is bite-sized learning, small, very short courses. So really, round up, learning anywhere, anytime is beginning to be reality today. The key is if you know how. And here we have a massive challenge for further education, for libraries, adults, other adult education operators. We need to give people the tools of how to learn online, how to take part in these. They can't just do it themselves. They need support. They need someone to show them how. And it's digital literacy, as you all know. So that is the key, enabling people to take part in this. At the moment, this whole revolution is mostly graduates and people who are already digitally literate. We need to get everybody on board. And that's just blurb about my own digital footprints, but I'll round off with that. And if there are any questions, I'll hand back to Kevin.
Thanks, Jim. That's brilliant. Any questions into the question and answer panel below? Sorry, Alistair. Thank you. Sorry, just get the speaker on. That's always a good way of doing it, isn't it? Right. Yeah, just below us, there's a Q&A panel, but there aren't any questions in it at the moment. So anybody who wants to, please put a question in there. I'm just slightly worried when I see nothing in there that there could be a problem with the Q&A panel.
No,
maybe it is just that Alistair was perfect.
Well, I don't think. Adrian, Alistair, any Swedish uni courses on this or similar subjects? Well, actually, Sweden is actually incredibly late with the MOOC revolution. It's only really just happened. In fact, today the first Swedish university MOOC starts. And it's 2 courses on the edX platform, which are, they're in health education, but they're fairly specialized. So we're only just starting.
Lovely. Have you any specific ideas on developing literacy in the use of MOOCs?
Well, I don't think it's just I mean, I'm getting fed up. I mean, I've been writing and studying MOOCs for several years now. I'm getting heart sick of the concept. I wish we'd please get rid of this awful acronym and let's talk about education. Education using various tools, open education, if you will. But I think it's difficult to go into specific ideas. But I mean, I think it's not just literacy for taking part in MOOCs. It's literacy for taking advantage of the online learning and the open online learning that's already available and is exploding, basically. And I think that's something that schools, adult education, and especially libraries are working with and need to work more with, that they need the money and resources to do it. And it's enabling people and empowering people to take advantage of what's there.
There's a few more questions about engaging people, and don't worry, because we're going to come to that in some of the other presentations. In fact, Jim's in just a moment. So I think if everyone's happy with Alistair at the end.